fine print for a lot of things, including those surcharges, whether they have gone or not. Let's just start getting our political reaction, and I want to get Anshuman Magazine also to tell us what he makes of the big picture. But before that, the first is the political reaction. Let's go across to Jay Panda. Jay, as an interim budget and as a vote on account, did anything catch your eye in that? Something probably caught your ear, which was all the shouting in Parliament, which was rather sad. Those scenes in Parliament continue to disappoint and surprise people. But other than that, anything else caught your attention?
Well, of course, it was appalling to have even a temporary budget read out in the middle of all that din. I don't know if it came through your studio audiences or not, but the finance minister was actually not keen on continuing to read it. He said so, and I heard that on the headset, but then continued speaking. I couldn't hear all of the budget being inside because of all the noise, but I do welcome one thing, which is the one rank, one pay announcement for retired servicemen. But I want to make a point here. I think this demand has been there for 9 years. It should have been accepted a long time ago in the interest of fair play and justice. But the government waited all these years until the very end, until I think 2 or 3 days ago that Shri Rahul Gandhi mentioned it, and then it got done. The question then arises why this and many other measures could not have been taken if all it took was for the Congress Vice President to champion the cause.
But Jay, that's not unusual. It is increasingly happening that they wait for Rahul Gandhi to say he wants to do something, and very soon after that the government actually does it. But you're right, it could have happened earlier. Just before we go to the budget, but your sense again of the din, though, politically speaking, and from the way of the perception of what people have of Parliament, do you think it would have almost have been better for the finance minister to have read out his speech on Lok Sabha TV as one of the thoughts was earlier in the day, or do you think at the end of the day this is the best that could have been done?
I think it would have been better for the Honourable Speaker to exercise her powers and maintain order in the House and take disciplinary action so that the budget could have been properly heard. But then, the political parties themselves, irrespective of what they say, don't support this kind of discipline, and that needs to change. I do want to make one last comment. I think I heard one of your panelists mention some tokenism. And most of the announcements that came across did actually sound like tokenism. It sounds like too little, too late to try and give a boost to the economy just before the elections.
All right, we'll try to take forward that thought of too little, too late. Is it really too little, too late? And quickly, Mr. Panda, if I could also get your reaction to that one big political pitch he made once again in the speech. The fact that he said, who blocked GST? And GST is something the industry has talked about in a big way, saying it can easily increase the country's GDP by 1 to 1.5 percentage points. And he once again tried to say, you know what, we want to bring in the GST, but there are political parties blocking it. Your reaction to that comment coming as part of a vote on account speech?
I don't agree at all. I think, let me give you an example. We used to have a similar situation 10 years ago with the VAT. And the leadership in Delhi made serious efforts to reach out to regional party leaders and bring them on board. Whereas in this case, the government has just left it to a committee of finance ministers, and big decisions do not get taken by committee. You have to have leadership in Delhi. When, for example, did either the Prime Minister or the UPA leader speak out on this issue? When did the finance minister or other leaders go to any of the big state capitals and try to persuade some of the regional parties to come on board? You can't just expect that just because something is good for the economy, you announce it politically, it just happens on its own. You have to take the initiative, be proactive, and bring people on board, and you can't just leave it to committee. And I think that has been the basic fault with many of the policies that this government has.
All right, let me just get Anshuman Magazine. I know you have to leave us, but let me just get your thoughts on that. We have been seeing disruptions in Parliament, and we have been seeing many bills and other things being held up there. But at the end of the day, as Jay is saying, is that an excuse that the government can take that, look, the opposition doesn't allow us to do so many things? Or at the end of the day, do you somehow have to find a way to work around that?
I completely agree with Jay Panda. Coalition politics is here to stay. I think it's going to be here for many, many years. So there has to be some effort to persuade the states which are in the opposition to accept. GST and DTC have been in particular a very big disappointment for the industry. It's been talked about for so many years, and they've not got a consensus. So I completely agree there is no excuse. And any government, whoever comes in power, would have to learn how to persuade the states who are in opposition and get them in for the larger national good.
Is that one thing, Anshuman, is something which you think we should fear? Obviously, we're heading for elections and everything will change after the elections. But some of the issues that we've seen being thrown up in the last few years, parliamentary obstruction, things like that, that perhaps is a worry even going forward.
Certainly it is. I think the biggest issue right now, if you look at foreign investors or even larger Indian corporates, the reason they are not investing in India is political. I mean, in the past, this was not a major issue. People are more concerned about reforms, what the government can do. But currently, this political uncertainty is a big factor why we are not getting as much investment we should get. Most of the people who want to invest in India just are tired of the effort which is required to really do business in India. The fact, like I mentioned, is that the politicians now would need this extra skill, or it should be in, like they say in their KPI or their one of the skills to how to really work in a coalition government. I think any politician coming in, if he lacks that skill, it's really terrible for our country. So,
all right, we will be going across to Mr. Ajay Sriram, Mr. Chris Gopalakrishnan and Mr. Godrej at CII in just a bit, but a quick word from Mr. Jay Panda before he leaves us. So, Mr. Panda, go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Yes, I just want to make one last comment. You know, for a government to work through coalition politics, they have to send a consistent message. And the other big idea they've had besides GST has been the UID, the Aadhaar project. And you know how they have gone start and stop on it. And today it was ironic to hear the finance minister say that the government is fully committed to it, while also alluding to the fact that they have backtracked on it because of, again, sudden announcements of largesse from senior party members. You cannot hope to bring about consensus if you send inconsistent messages.
All right, Jay, thanks for joining us. Anshuman, thanks for being with us as well. Ajay.